When I talk about the silver shortage, I also mention the possibility of silver getting banned. We won't be able to buy it. A lot of people call me crazy, but that's probably because they don't know that this situation actually happened before. On January 21st, 1980, silver got banned. Ironically, gold was already banned at that time, and that's why the Hunt brothers got into the silver market in 1979. These three brothers owned up to 77% of the global silver supply. Obviously, the government wasn't going to let that happen, so they made a law on the spot banning silver. During that time, they managed to push the price of silver up to $50, the highest price silver's ever been still till this day. The real question is, since they were willing to ban silver back then, as there was a lack of silver, would they do that again today? Now, before we talk about the possibility of silver getting banned again, I need you to do a huge favor for me. I need you to go to every single Silver Stackers YouTube channel and comment Silver Raid May 15th in their videos. Wall Street Silver did something like this last year, and the outcome was unbelievable. They pushed the price of silver to $30 in 2 days, what silver couldn't do in 10 years. Let's make history, folks. We can do this. Let's clean these online dealers' shelves out. Last time the silver raid happened, JM Bullion's site crashed from all the traffic. APMEX wouldn't even accept orders. JM Bullion, Provident Metals, SD Bullion, Modern Coin Mart, all wouldn't even accept orders. There was so much traffic, the page would literally lag on you and exit out. We can do this again, so on May 15th, let's recreate that monumental moment. The story of the Hunt brothers is extremely complex and controversial. I did like a 3 or 4 part docu-series on this about a year ago, if you want to go check that out. Basically, these three brothers, they got into silver because gold was currently banned, so they cornered the market, kind of like what Wall Street Silver did. They did it on the COMEX. They owned up to 77%, and that's a factual number. They even mentioned that percentage in this article, but they tried to turn all of those contracts into physical delivery. Well, the government needs silver. Even back then, there was still a lot of technological applications that needed silver. So imagine what would have happened. They wouldn't have had enough silver to make anything. So they made a law on the spot, passed it, called Silver Rule 7, banning silver, which led to Silver Thursday when the price went from $50 all the way back down to $9 or $10 within, like a week or so. And Thursday was the day it all happened, like 50% in one day. And that was due to everyone finding out that they banned silver, so everyone panic sold. Now, yes, the Hunt brothers and Wall Street Silver cornered the market, but I think the more realistic situation to what would happen of silver getting banned would be the Executive Order 6102 from FDR in 1930. This is when he put out a public service announcement telling everyone to turn their gold in. Yes, he confiscated everyone's gold. And if you didn't listen, if you tried to hide a little bit of gold in your safe and you got caught, you would have a $10,000 fine or 10 years in prison or both. I'm not kidding. This is the actual service announcement that he put out. Under the executive order of the president, all persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by the Federal Reserve Bank. This is crazy. And this is by the bank, branch, or agency to any member of the Federal Reserve System. It even says down here, criminal penalties for violation of this order is a $10,000 fine, 10 years imprisonment, or both, as provided in Section 9 of this order. That is something that the government could definitely play off of, and this is why. Listen how, if they were clever, this is how I would do it. The reason that we need so much silver is for the green revolution. So if they told everyone, hey, turn in your silver to help save the planet, we need silver for solar panels and electric vehicles, so turn your silver in so we could help the world go green, that would be the best way to get people to turn their silver in. That's the only way I think that it would be somewhat successful, is if they made it kind of like this: be heroic and save the planet, give us your silver. It's the only way. Would you let me know? Would you be willing to risk the $10,000 fine or the 10 years in prison or both? Imagine that. And $10,000 in 1933 is probably around $100,000 today. Like, imagine getting caught. That would be so insane. And just if you don't know the history of precious metals, I'm sure that this stuff you didn't even think was possible or existed. Just like when I said the Hunt brothers entered the silver market because gold was already banned at that time. Did you guys know in 1979 you couldn't purchase gold? Did you know that? Did you know that throughout history, silver was banned, gold was confiscated several different times throughout history all over the world? I actually made a video covering all the different times that a government has confiscated the people's gold. And it's always because the same thing, usually in times of war or economic turmoil, because gold is what backs a country's wealth. That's how that country is surviving. That's what they need. It's not how much money they print off, it's the gold. So, if we're in a situation like this, and which is much more serious than just, some gold, we're talking about saving the planet, I'm sure that they would decide or consider banning silver, making everyone turn it in, and this is what it would look like. See, actually, if you want to go into this article, it all started on January 7th. And then on January 27th is when they finally announced. January 7th, what they did was cut the COMEX down to only 3 million ounces contracts. Then they realized that wasn't cutting it. So then on January 27th, they went full in. I actually want to show a little bit of this. I don't want to tell you the history too much because I just did that. I want to go over some of the numbers. This is insane. Hunt brothers wanted to go all in, right? This is what they wanted to do. So they inherited their father's billions of dollars. This is really the timeline, but we want to focus on, would this happen again, right? We don't. I mean, yes, it's cool to look at, but the whole point is, will silver get banned again? This is what happened. The silver was like $10 an ounce. Then they accumulated a lot of silver, squeezed the market, and forced the price higher. In late 1979, the Commodities Exchange changed the rules and stated no investor could hold over 3 million ounces of silver per contract. That's what I was talking about happened on January 7th. But then things got worse. Then the CFTC officially privately estimated that the Hunt brothers and their Saudi allies then controlled 77% of all silver in private hands. Prices surged, crossing $40 per share, and it actually hit $50.50. That's the highest silver's ever been. Well, they cut the story off there. But this is what happened after that. Obviously, on January 7th, 1980, that happened, right? 3 million ounces. Those in excess of the cap, let's say tens of millions, were given until the following month to bring themselves into compliance. But that was too long for the Chicago Board of Trade Exchange, which suspended the issue of any new silver futures on January 21st. Silver futures traders would only be allowed to square up old contracts, and you had to sell them to the feds, to the banks. You couldn't sell it to friends or family or anyone else. You had to sell it back to them. Now, predictably, silver prices began to slide, right? Now, matters finally came to a head on March 25th when one of the Hunt's largest backers asked for $100 million more in collateral. The brothers were out of cash, right? I mean, they sold all their silver, but they were also doing shady things on the side. See, they would have gotten away with this if they only stuck to the contracts on the COMEX, but they did some other stuff. That's what got them in trouble. That's what got them deemed criminals in the public's eye. But I'm about to mention, I think, another conspiracy on why they really were deemed criminals. So this is on March 27th, Silver Thursday. The silver futures market dropped by a third to $10.80. Just 2 months earlier, the contracts had been trading at 4 times that amount, right? 2 months earlier, silver was $50.50, and it dropped back down to $10.80 an ounce in just 2 months. That is insane. I mean, that is so insane to think about. Imagine investing during that time. Like, what would you have done? It's easy to say, like, when you watch a movie and someone does something, oh, I would have done this. But when you're in the situation, it's so hard because imagine your silver's $50.50, so you don't sell. You're like, it could go higher. It could go to $100. And actually covered, I actually backdated articles from back then. And I actually did this in 2011, not 1980. But in 2011, when silver was $50 or 49, I covered a lot of articles of what people were saying. And most people thought silver was going to keep going higher. So they didn't sell. Then silver went back down. And imagine in 1980, if you didn't sell at 50 because you thought it was going to go higher, but then in 2 months it goes back down to $10, and it takes decades later for it to even go up somewhat. And I'm sure a lot of people were buying at 50, especially since there was so much hype and news around the Hunt brothers. But this is why I think they were really deemed criminals. This news was everywhere. On every news station, everyone's talking about it. They bought silver because they understood the inevitable downfall of the dollar. So they wanted to put their money into something that has real value. They were cornering the market, kind of like what Wall Street Silver did, but back then they were looked down upon it, and now Wall Street Silver is looked up upon it. And that's because nowadays the corrupt financial system is more accepted in even the media's eyes. But basically, imagine if someone is just, an average American or whoever's watching the TV said, why are those guys buying so much silver? And they found out the truth of why they were. Do you think the government wants the everyday normal people that don't invest to understand that these guys were cornering the market because the dollar's demise, and they basically exposed everything? No, the government said, let's turn the spotlight, make these guys look evil, and that they were trying to do something really illegal. So then when everyone hears the story, they just see, oh, these guys are criminals, they just want to do something, you know wouldn't that make more sense? They don't want those guys to be looked upon as just some traders that are exposing the corrupt financial system, basically what we talk about on a daily basis. They didn't want that news to get out, especially in 1980. So let's make them look like criminals. So, anyways, what do you think about all this? This story is insane. I didn't want to focus the video on the Hunt brothers. I just wanted to talk about historically what happened and how it could happen again, especially given the circumstances nowadays. Right back then, it was more from like gold confiscation, backing the nation. Nowadays, we're talking about the world going green, not having enough silver for solar panels and electric vehicles and 5G towers. And I actually just covered an article from David Morgan where he also said, you know, what's going to happen when Apple comes out and says we can't make the new iPhone because we don't have enough silver. Literally just covered that article 2 days ago. I think more people are going to realize this probably in the next 5 or 6 years, because that's when we'll be deep into the green revolution, and that's when silver shortage will be inevitable. It won't be able to be swept under the rug like it is today. Plus, we're just now starting, right? So, anyways, let me know. Do you think that silver could get banned, would get banned, should get banned? Would you turn your silver in? And what do you think the price would get to? Back then it was $50. Wall Street Silver pushed it to $30 in only a few days, and that was back when they only had a few thousand members on that subreddit. Now they have 188,000. So, on May 15th, which is a Sunday, I want you to save money, save your paychecks. Maybe don't even buy silver until then, and buy on that day. I'm curious on Monday when the markets open back up, or Sunday night or whatever. I'm curious what's going to happen. I'm also curious if we would see something similar to what happened when Wall Street Silver did, and APMEX wouldn't even accept orders, or these sites crash because all the traffic. Tell everyone. Comment on this video May 15th. Let's get that date so known that people they have to go look what's on May 15th, and they see that it's a silver raid. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.